Okay, guys, I'm just gonna go over some of the stuff we've done over the last few weeks, so you can use this as like a revision one, or for the people who haven't been in lessons, you can it's something to just help you like stay in touch with the class and what we've been doing. So last week, I think it was last Friday. It says Wednesday on here, but I think it's Friday. We looked at limiting factors of photosynthesis. So there are two interactive experiments that are on Google Classroom. So if you go onto that and try those experiments, you should find out what those interactive experiments are. I'm just going to go through what the other things are. So if you haven't done that, go away, do that, and then come back, and then start the video from there. Otherwise, if you have done them, I'm just going to go through those limiting factors. So I'm just going to quickly explain today the factors that can limit photosynthesis, and we're going to look at some graphs to show how, maybe look at those graphs and see what they're telling us. So the things that limiting factor that limits photosynthesis are the temperature. So that's to do with the enzymes. So if it's too cold, it's not going to happen. If it's too hot, it's going to denature the enzymes. Carbon dioxide, because it's such a small amount of the atmosphere, like 0.04% of the atmosphere is carbon dioxide. And obviously light. If we don't have any light, can't have any photosynthesis. And we call them a limiting factor because it limits, it puts the brakes on the reaction. So it slows it, that stops it from happening, basically. So it's a limiting factor. Okay. So the first one that was on there was about light intensity. So if we look at this, what I want you to do is just think about what is happening. So if you've seen this for the first time, maybe stop at the video, think about what that is showing you, and then write down some ideas. Obviously, I did this on Pear Deck for the people who were in the lesson that time, so they will have got responses for that. So you may want to think about, well, what does this graph show us before I move on to the next bit? So basically, what that graph is showing us is that if we go to here, well, if we look at it here, as the light intensity increases, so does the rate of photosynthesis. We can see it happens very, very quickly to begin with, but then it starts leveling off. And the reason why it's going to level off is because one of the other factors is going to stop it from increasing. So it could be it's too cold, or maybe there's not enough carbon dioxide around. So it doesn't matter how much light you put on there, how much you increase the light intensity, it's not going to increase the rate of photosynthesis. What could do is if it was limited by carbon dioxide, if you put carbon dioxide in there, then we'd see it go to a higher level, but then something else would be limited. So you've got those three bits here, like in the exam, they could ask you, what's happening? You'd say it's increasing, but it doesn't matter how much you increase the light intensity, no matter how much you increase the light intensity, it's going to have no effect because it's going as much as it can. If you think of it like a factory, it doesn't matter how much it's like you've got the raw materials, but you can't increase what's being produced because the light is, well, the light's not a limiting factor anymore. It will be carbon dioxide. So again, looking at this one, you've got the carbon dioxide concentration along the bottom. You've got rate of photosynthesis along the side. Again, think about what that is showing you. You can stop it and then play the next bit. So again, carbon dioxide increases, so does the rate of photosynthesis, but then it starts to level off. And it's leveling off because maybe there's another limiting factor, so it could be light or temperature. So it doesn't matter how much more carbon dioxide you put in there. The leaf is working, or the cells are working as fast as they can. They can't produce any more because either the light is limiting, there's not enough light around, or it could be that it's not warm enough. So that one's virtually the same as the other one. And then our final one is this one. So again, look at that, try and describe what that is showing you. This one, you kind of got to think back to your enzymes. So here, as the temperature increases, so does the rate of reaction because things are going to collide. But then you go past the optimum temperature, and then it's going to start to denature. Now, generally, you'd see this like a different shape. Generally, it would be going up and then coming down quite quickly. So it's very similar to your enzymes. So you always refer back to, if you ever see a temperature, it's going to be generally referring back to your enzymes. So that's talking about those limiting factors. What I want you guys to do, if you haven't already, is I'm just going to show you the booklet. So if you haven't already with the booklet, can you make sure you highlight the B column, and if it's green, so if you read this and you understand it, put it as green. If you don't know what it's saying, then put it as yellow, and you've got absolutely no idea, put it as red. So generally, like, you've kind of got an idea, but if you've got no idea whatsoever, put it as red. Okay, so if you could do that, and then I'm just going to go through these other answers that we've done so far. you need to make sure, and you may want to stop this and go through it in your own pace. Make sure you've got the equation written in. So the equation here, carbon dioxide plus water goes to glucose plus oxygen. And that is the word equation. You do need to know the symbol equation as well, so make sure you know that. And then here, just labeling it so that what's going in where. So going into the leaf is going to be carbon dioxide. Coming out of the leaf is oxygen, and you've got the glucose, which is 3 coming away from the leaf, and then water is going in there. And this is all about the structure of the leaf. So we did this a while ago, and the general conditions of photosynthesis. So where does the energy come from to make this reaction happen? The energy is coming from sunlight. It's going to be absorbed by the pigments, and the main pigment is chlorophyll, which is in the chloroplasts. What color do you think chlorophyll is? Chlorophyll is going to be green. Then you think about physics. What color of light does chlorophyll reflect? It reflects green light, doesn't it? That's how we see colors. So the colors it's going to absorb, and it's going to be blue and red light. That's in some of the experiments you've done, the virtual ones. Now, plants make glucose first. They convert this glucose into carbohydrates. It names them carbohydrates that plants need that we've made by this conversion. So starch and cellulose. Cellulose used in the cell wall. So, yeah. So that's what that is there for. And then we can use the starch test as evidence that photosynthesis has been happening. Or why can we use one? Because excess glucose is converted to starch, and that is fine. Minerals you will do today. I'll talk about that in a second. But you can see there which nutrient you need in your diet in order to grow. So your nutrient here, I would say for your nutrient, is going to be proteins. So I would change that one for whoever this one is. So that's what you need to grow, but plants need them to grow, and the two main nutrients for them to grow are nitrates. Two main minerals, nitrate. I can't spell. Nitrates. Now I've got to put two I's in. Rubbish. So nitrates, and I would say in there the phosphates as well. So you've got potassium as well. So they get fertilizers as well, which contain nitrogen, phosphorus, phosphor, and NPK, potassium. So they're important for that. Similarly, a plant needs to modify glucose to make new chlorophyll. They need a particular ion from the soil to do this. What is this mineral? And that is magnesium. We'll look at where you can find evidence for that in a second. So the other thing that we've done is the structure of the leaf. You need to make sure that you can say what the adaptations are that make it good at absorbing light. So it has a palisade layer at the top. So we're looking at that bit. It's really like a long thing. It's full of those palisade cells are full of chloroplasts. The upper epidermis is transparent, so it helps light go through, and they've got a large surface area, so it's some really good points to make sure you've included in there. Oops, I've just done into that person's work, which I didn't mean to do. Where do we get to? We're down here. List two adaptations to make the leaf good at gas exchange. It's thin, so it's got short distance things to diffuse, and it's also got lots of stomata at the bottom to allow those gases in and to allow them out. And the two main gases that are going to be involved in the exchange are going to be carbon dioxide and oxygen, because a plant carries out respiration, but it also carries out photosynthesis. So those gases will be coming in and out of there. Now, the other thing I want to make sure that you have done, we'll come back at this bit, is looking at the factors I was talking about before, about limiting factors. So in here, you need to write about how temperature is going to affect it, how carbon dioxide is going to affect it. So if you want to check back on the answers, come back and pause that. And then can you find the graphs and include the graphs and just put those in there, and then you can explain about this bit here. So I'll just scroll down slowly, so then if you want to come back and check your results, you can. So just so there you've got those different answers. The other thing that I would like you to do is on Google Classroom, So on Google Classroom, there's an assignment that says plant minerals. And what I would like you to do is if you click on the video, watch that video about plant minerals, and then you've got an animation. I think you need to have Flash enabled for that one. So have a look at both of these, find out about the plant minerals. Then you just need to think about where they're getting them from. So here we're talking about where is it getting from. So obviously water, it comes from the soil. How does the plant do that? It's going to come through the roots or the root hair. So you just need to put where it's coming from, how it gets into the plant, and then using either the clip, like the video and the textbook, and what you're doing, I would like you to write about these. So what does the plant need nitrates for, and if it doesn't get them, what does it look like? So obviously, like humans, if we don't get enough vitamins and stuff, we have deficiency symptoms. Same thing happens to plants. So what happens if a plant doesn't get enough phosphates or potassium or magnesium? And just fill those in for me. Okay. So that's everything up to date. If you've got any questions, then feel free to email me. And have a good Easter. Cheerio.